welcome back to CTV. My name is Calandra and I'm back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about why people do not like quiet people. This topic was something I've been wanting to talk about for a really long time because I've once been a very quiet person. I still am a quiet person, but not how I used to be back in my adolescent days, I would say. It's kind of triggering to talk about for some people, but I think we should talk about it because people literally do not like quiet people or overlook quiet people. I'm gonna be talking about both things. So why quiet people are often overlooked, mistreated, undervalued, disliked. That's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. I've also watched other videos on people talking about why they don't like quiet people, why they don't like introverted people. I made a video about Black introverts. If you want to go check that out, go ahead and check that out. But people can be quiet for many different reasons. It doesn't necessarily mean you're an introvert. I don't like to just categorize everybody, so I'm just gonna say quiet people or people that just keep to themselves, people that don't say too much, you know what I'm saying? There's different types of quiet people. Some people, you know, can be very sociable if they're comfortable around you, and I'm that type of person where I just want to feel people out, get to know people before I really say too much about myself. I don't say much unless I'm comfortable around you, and that's just the type of person I am. And a lot of quiet people are like that, and they're just people that are just straight up quiet. So maybe this video can help those understand why people are quiet, and then for quiet people like myself, this can also help y'all understand like how people actually look at y'all. I'm not saying change yourself or anything like that. That's not what I'm trying to do in this video, but this has just been something I've dealt with growing up, and people not liking me because of the lack of words that came out of my mouth. That's crazy, right? The lack of words that came out of my mouth caused me to be disliked or treated a certain way. So let's talk about that. So people dislike quiet people because they're threatened by you. Yeah, we're often seen as a threat because people can't read us. Like, they don't know what we're thinking about, what kind of person we are. So when you're unreadable, people do see that as a threat because they think you're sneaky as hell. So I've gotten this a lot. Like, people had told me that I give off sneaky vibes, and I don't really understand why I give off sneaky vibes, just because I'm not, you know, as talkative. I never really did anything sneaky. I mean, as an adolescent, a teenager, whatever you want to call it, I'm pretty sure we all done something behind our parents' back and stuff like that. Like, I probably done something I wasn't supposed to do. I'm pretty sure most teenagers have done that type of stuff. So that's the only sneaky behavior I actually did. I never actually just plotted on anybody or anything like that. Of course, you know, when I've gotten to altercations and stuff like that, I may have done things that people wouldn't expect me to do, but I'm not a sneaky person. I have better things to do in my life than to just sit there and plot on everybody that's around me. That's very weird, and I'm not vindictive like that, and people just thought I was just because I didn't say much. Another assumption that people have about quiet people is that something is wrong, like literally wrong with us, that we, you know, don't know how to operate in the social world. And it's kind of a rude assumption because that's definitely not true. There's a lot of people that aren't quiet that don't know how to operate in the social world. Like, they think they may know how to, and just because like somebody's quiet doesn't necessarily mean something's wrong with them mentally. Like, something is wrong with everybody. Y'all all weird as fuck, okay? If you ask me, y'all got something wrong with y'all. But it may be triggering to talk about, but there is reasons why people don't talk to people. Like, maybe it can be past trauma that's triggering people to not want to deal with people, because that's kind of what it was with me. Like, I've dealt with bullying, I dealt with certain things in my household, and things that just made me not want to talk to people. So that's one thing. Anxiety, depression, you know, it could be something wrong with anybody, but before judging, try to understand that person, or try to, you know, just try not to be so judgmental, or try to like literally understand before you assume something about somebody. Quiet people are just quiet because they want to be quiet. It doesn't mean nothing's wrong with them. So I just wanted to put that in there. Now, people are sheep. A lot of people are followers. You see it on social media. this is something that's very obvious. This is something that's really, really obvious. If somebody is often not popular, you know, you don't see people necessarily flocking to them, approaching them often. People are going to be afraid to approach you just because of the lack of people that actually associate themselves with you. Because they're afraid of being judged by their peers. That's one thing. I had something happen before where, let's say I had a classmate that wasn't considered cool. I sat next to them, right? And usually when you sit next to somebody, you're going to make some type of conversation, like whether it's about something in school, whether you're asking a question or whatever, like somebody's next to you, you may talk to them, right? I was talking to somebody that I was sitting next to. I'm not the type of person that's just gonna like, I'm not that type of person to just go judge somebody or just be mean or treat somebody a certain type of way, like they not human because they not considered cool. So I had like a friend ask me, why are you talking to them? Like, are they not a human being? You know, am I not sitting next to them? Like, what's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? I will talk to anybody that talks to me. So what's the problem? But that's just an example of how people are. Along with disliking you, people are also going to be quicker to disrespect people that are quiet, to treat them a certain way, because they don't know what you stand for. You don't really put your values, your opinions, and everything like that into the world, so people don't know what to expect. They'll either be fearful about it or threatened about it, or willing to try you because they feel like you're not going to do anything, or that you're not going to stand up for yourself. So there are two types of quiet people, okay? There's quiet people that are just quiet but will speak when needed, will stand up for themselves when needed, will handle their shit when needed. And then there's those quiet people that are very timid, very shy, and don't know how to handle confrontation. So I'm gonna talk about those that are afraid of confrontation, that those are timid, and those that don't stand up for themselves. So I already talked about how people would be more willing to try you because you don't seem to have a voice, right? So I would talk about it from my standpoint of why I didn't like confrontation, or why I don't like confrontation. And I just hate arguing. I'm not a type of person that likes to go back and forth. Sometimes, you know, I don't be thinking of what I want to say until after the fact. And it makes me really upset because it's just like, damn, I could have really killed this person with this. But it's just like, it's dumb. It's pointless. 9 times out of 10, if I feel a certain type of way about something, I'm not gonna change my mind, and there's nothing you can do to make me change my mind or to make me just be like, you know what, you're right. Unless I'm completely wrong about it, I am willing to. I'm not a narcissist. Like, I'm willing to listen to how that other person feels or how you think about something and open my mind to it. But if it's just completely nonsense and you're trying to come at me disrespectful, calling me names, you know, belittling me, talking shit, you know, being aggressive, I'm gonna be aggressive. I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna stand up for what I believe in, and I'm not gonna change my mind about it. So it's just no point. Like, it's either we're gonna agree to disagree, we're gonna disagree, or we're gonna come to an agreement. It's gonna be one of those 3 things. And if it doesn't happen within a minute of the conversation or the confrontation, then it doesn't need to keep going because it's just pointless. I don't like going back and forth. It's dumb. And there's people out there that literally love to argue and love to debate. I'm not one of those people. So what I don't like is when people go for people that are not confrontational, because there are people out there that want that stuff, that want to fight, that want to argue. Why not go for those people? Why bother somebody that's minding their own business and don't want to? Even my little skinny arms is shaking. What? Okay, there are people out there that don't want to have an argument, that don't want to be confrontational. And there are literally people out there that hate people just because they don't like confrontation. I don't understand that. I understand confrontation is needed sometimes, and you know, sometimes you have to put your foot down and let a motherfucker know how to treat you and not to come at you a certain type of way. It's very needed at times. It's very needed to stand up for what you believe in. But unnecessary confrontation is something I just can't stand, and it's just not peaceful. It's not something I want to be around. I just don't like it. And us quiet people just don't like that. So stop trying to force people to engage in something that they don't want to engage into. That's all I'm saying. Also, our intelligence is very much questioned by people who are not so quiet, by people that are very much out there. Just because somebody is quiet doesn't mean they're not intelligent. Just because somebody's quiet doesn't mean that they don't know what social cues are. Just because somebody's quiet doesn't mean they don't know how to react in certain situations. Just because somebody's quiet doesn't mean they don't do their research. It don't mean they don't know stuff. I'm not the type of person, I'm not gonna say anything what's the word? What? Controversial, because I am on YouTube. But I'm gonna give an example, right? Let's say I'm in the middle of a bus ride and there's a group of people that are around me just having a conversation, right? I'm not going to just randomly blurt out that I hate the color red. I don't really hate the color red, but it's just an example. It's just like, who asked you? Who asked you? And there's people like that just, you know, they just want to like say stuff or, you know, blurt out their opinions and their thoughts about things when it's just not the time and the place. And I'm not trying to say that in a rude way. Like, you can say what's on your mind, but it's just sometimes it's very much random and unprovoked, and I just don't like that. There's a time and a place for certain things, and people just don't understand that because people believe, oh, I'm blunt, I'm loud, I'm this, I'm that, and that's cool. Be that. But it doesn't mean just because somebody is not like that doesn't mean that they're scary, doesn't mean that they're not true to themselves and they're not being themselves. But it's a time and a place to have these conversations, and that's why I have a YouTube channel, because I can say what's on my mind in a place that's appropriate to say what's on my mind on. So that's just one thing I want to point out. Just because somebody is quiet don't mean they don't know nothing. Like, we may have tons of knowledge, we may do tons of research and know a lot about a lot of things, but y'all just never know because y'all don't talk to us and y'all don't really know us. So it's just like, you can't assume something that you just don't know about. Another thing is, they may want to see what you're capable of. This happens a lot. This really happens a lot. Like, if I'm into it with somebody, and let's say I do something that they wouldn't expect me to do, they want to say, oh, I didn't know you had it in you. I didn't know you had it in you. I didn't know this person had it in them. What is the reason? It's just, people love shock value, okay? People love shock value. They love to be shocked. They love people that are just unpredictable. They love provoking unpredictable ass people because they just think it's shock value, like I said. And then, like, it's just like, you make yourself look stupid because you got cussed out, or you probably got your ass whooped by somebody who's quiet because you did everything in your power to bring it out of them. Like I said, there are people out there that love to fight, that love confrontation. Why not bother those people? Why do you have to why do you have to bring us out of our character? Like, a lot of quiet people don't want to be brought out of their character. So it's just like, we just like to mind our business, you know, we like to be peaceful, and there y'all go. Just being ridiculous. Another thing is, they honestly may want a friendship with you, but they don't know how to create one with you, and it frustrates them. So what they may do is they may either ignore you and act like you don't exist, because I had people that, you know, had reached out a couple of times and said that they would have liked to be my friend, but they just never made that move, so it never happened. But there are people out there that may want a friendship with you, but they don't know how to approach you, so they're going to either act like you don't exist or dislike you because they just want a friendship with you, but they don't know how to create one with you, or they don't know how to approach you or deal with you as a person. So it makes them mad, it makes them upset. And believe it or not, people may be intrigued by you or something about you. So that's why they either try you or they admire you from a distance. Basically, that's pretty much what it is, because they may notice something about you that's cool or interesting to them, but they don't know how to just come up to you because they don't know how to deal with somebody like you. They usually deal with, you know, other extroverted people, or people that usually approach them first, or people that, you know, are open, literally open with their personality. And it's easier to start a conversation with those people, but they're more so, like I said, threatened and afraid by people that don't say too much, so they don't know how to approach you. And, you know, even within the friendship, they may not know how to have a friendship with somebody like you, because you may be different. You may not be into the same things that people that are loud or people that are very sociable are, so they don't know how to actually relate to you. But that doesn't mean they don't like you. So hopefully that makes sense. And another thing that I want to point out for those who may want to be a friend or may want to sabotage you in a certain way, they will ask this infamous question:
why are you so quiet?
Why are you so quiet? Like, I've gotten that question so many times in grade school, whether it was elementary, middle, high school. And that question kind of irritates me, because it's not really much of a valid answer for that question. There's many different answers as to why somebody is quiet. I would just say, me, it was like for no win or losing. Like, if I was talkative, because I was a very expressive child, you know, very young. When I was very young, I was very expressive. I was kind of like a little too much, I will admit. So I think the bullying kind of started, you know, around 5th grade, I would say. Maybe a little bit 4th grade, but I was much more confident, whether I knew how to fight or not. I was very much confident back in 4th grade, but when 5th grade came around, that's when kids were just meaner and more aggressive. And, you know, I kind of like calmed down a lot. And then also I had a kind of a triggering home life that just made me not want to talk. Like, it kind of, I guess, humbled me, but in a kind of bad way, to where I couldn't really express myself anymore. It was really hard for me to open up, and I just felt like when people would ask me why was I so quiet, sometimes when people literally ask that question, I understand that they may want to understand you, and that's okay. If it's coming from a genuine place, cool. But a lot of y'all just do that to try to fill me out and then have something to use against me. And y'all may want me to open up to y'all, but it's just like, if you don't really like me like that, if, you know, your intentions are not pure, why are you asking me questions? Why are you trying to understand me just so you can have more stuff to use against me? So that's kind of what it was for me, and why I didn't like when people asked me that, because literally those people that asked me that is just like, were the same people that talked about me behind my back. So that's just how I feel about that question. And plus, it's just a very broad question. Like, it could be so many reasons. Maybe somebody's going through something. Maybe somebody is just like, we all have them days where we don't want to talk. I mean, I don't know about how people were in high school, but for me, I had my days where I just didn't want to talk, where I just wanted to put my headphones in and mind my business and not be bothered by anybody. And some people just don't want to, like, sometimes, you know, when you're like out running errands as a grown-up, you out running errands, right? You're trying to get your shit done. You're trying to get stuff done, get everything off your to-do list. And usually when I'm in that mode, I don't want to be bothered. Okay, I don't want to talk. I just want to get my stuff done and go home and relax. And it's the same thing with a lot of other people. Like, we just don't want to be bothered sometimes. And, you know, it's very valid. It's very understandable. You know, maybe I just don't want to talk to you. And that could be true. Like, maybe sometimes we don't want to talk to you specifically for a certain reason. So it could be many reasons why people just don't want to, like, why people are quiet. You know, that's a very, very broad question that has tons of answers. So it's annoying just because of what I just said. It's annoying. But like, if you want to reach out to somebody that, you know, is silent, you know what I'm saying, they are vulnerable to get picked on. So have pure intentions and actually, you know, want to get to know the person if you're going to actually talk to them, because we are human just like everybody else. And now I'm going to talk about why quiet people or silent people are overlooked. Okay, people may think you're uninteresting and boring, and that's a typical thing that people think about. Okay, it's very typical. And like I said before, if you don't know somebody, you don't know somebody. You don't know what kind of person they really are. Because people that are close to me, they don't think I'm quiet at all. I'm crazy. Like, I'm a little crazy. And a lot of us quiet people may be a little crazy, not in a bad way, depending on who you are. But we may be a little crazy. We may actually be spontaneous and a lot of fun, but we're not going to open up to just anybody. So that's something that's also misinterpreted. And also, I get kind of anxious, or sometimes when I'm under a lot of pressure, it's kind of hard for me to actually perform something the way I want to. And after the fact, I kind of be like, dang, I could have did this, that, and this and that. And I am, you know, kind of new in modeling, right? So when I do photo shoots and stuff like that, I, you know, sometimes at the top of my head, I don't think of all the poses I could do until after the photo shoot is over and I see my pictures. And don't get me wrong, I like my pictures, but it's just like, dang, I could have did this, that, and this and that. And I think that's a normal thing for most people, but that's kind of what a lot of quiet people go through. It's kind of hard for us to express ourselves to people openly and fully because of, it could be a fear of being judged. It could be, you know, anxiety and plenty of other things, and us not being used to that. Like, it's just like, we're not used to opening up to people. We're not used to expressing ourselves openly to everybody. So that's why it's oftentimes like it can be frustrating. We can be overlooked. Sometimes, you know, we don't get picked for certain things, and that can affect how it is in the real world for us. So that's one thing why we're overlooked, because people don't really see how we really are until we're pretty much comfortable with you. And I already said this already, but they don't know what we stand for. They don't know what our morals and values are. So we're often underlooked when we don't express that openly, because we're just seen as uninteresting, or we don't have a personality, when there's tons of people that are very popular that don't really have much of a personality, or they're just boring to me because it's like, you're predictable. I already know what you're gonna do next. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, especially somebody who's always in drama, or somebody who's always looking for attention. It's just like, oh, what are you gonna do next for attention? We don't look for unwanted attention, okay? Unless, like, we want attention only when it's needed for certain things, but we don't want unnecessary attention or people looking at us or really paying attention to us unless we really want it. So that's kind of what it is for us too. Now, to wrap this video up, I'm gonna come to a conclusion statement in question. Is it necessary to be social? Is it a bad thing to be quiet? I would say yes, it's necessary to be social. Yes, it's necessary to make relationships. And being too quiet can be a bad thing in the real world. Now, if you're somebody who just wants to live in a shed in like the forest or something, away from society, and you can just thrive and have enough money to do that, please let me know how you can do that, because I really want to know how you can live like that. I really want to know. Okay, I'm jealous of you. If you one of those people that can just be away from everything, please let me know. But we kind of do have to, you know, talk to people. Like, talking to people is very necessary, and knowing how to be comfortable with talking to people is very necessary in today's world. That's how we get jobs, that's how we make friends, that's how we find relationships. Apparently what's hard for us is because of the lack of trust we may have, or You know, the trauma that we deal with, is hard to do that for people, and some people it's just harder to operate in the real world because of that. Because we're just in a world with people that are just evil, have bad intentions, want to screw you over in any way possible. A lot of people say closed mouths don't get fed. It's very necessary to put yourself out there and put your intentions into the world and let people know who you are, just so you can be chosen for certain things that may go with what you want in life, that may, you know, actually help you get into the life that you deserve. It's very necessary to network with the right people and people that can put you in a better position, because once I started to talk to people, you know, I'm able to network and actually be closer to my dreams, especially in the creative world. You know, networking is very important because it's not a lot of resources for us outside of a few things, of course social media, but talking to people is very necessary. Making friendships it's hard for me, it's triggering for me because I've dealt with a lot of bad friendships, but I do get lonely. You know, quarantine happened. I am also in a state that's not my home state. I don't live in my home state anymore, so I don't really have a lot of friends out here. So I had to like go on Facebook groups and like get to know people that way. And it's also very scary, you know, talking to people through social media, because you don't really know who they are, and I'd rather much meet people in person. But it's also harder to do that way for people that are very quiet and secluded. So just, if you do that, you know, be careful. And a lot of times, like, which is really unfortunate, is, you know, you have to go through a lot of people to actually find the right people. Those friendships that disappoint you, those relationships that don't work, that is if friendships and relationships mean a lot to you. You know, you may have to date a lot to find your soulmate or future husband, future wife. Jobs, you may have to go through a lot of jobs and go through a lot of career opportunities to find where you fit in. So it's just stuff like that that's hard for quiet people, because it's just hard to have to go through a lot of people to get what you want. And you know, we do get like, I get lonely personally. I have recently found out that I am pretty social, and I actually do, you know, crave to be around people. I used to think I was super introverted and didn't need friends, but that really came from a place of hurt and betrayal. But once I realized, okay, I do want to make friends, you know, I had to actually go out there and get to know people. And also, it does come from a place of confidence. Just knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, knowing what your boundaries are. Once you really know yourself, it's going to be easier for you to talk to people and deal with people, because you know how to set your boundaries. You know what you want and what kind of people you want, and you know who you are as a person and what you're really looking for, so that you can find those people that meet your standards, and you can find those opportunities that meet your standards and stuff like that. And I could make another video about, you know, confidence and knowing yourself and all of that stuff if you want me to. But that's basically it, and I wanted to wrap up this video with this conclusion. And being a people person is not a bad thing. I don't want to like contradict everything I just said, but it all comes with balance for me. I'm not the type of person that wants to be friends with everybody and wants to be into everything, but I do want to be around people that fit me as a human being. So hopefully that makes sense. And you know, also just treating people how you want to be treated. Like the type of quiet people I don't like is people that are kind of passive aggressive, rude. You know, say hi to people when they say hi to you at least. You know what I'm saying? I don't like those type of quiet people, or people that are just like fake with their intentions and stuff like that. I get more into that later, but yeah, I can talk about the type of quiet people that I do like and the type of quiet people I don't like in another video. But this is gonna wrap up my video on this topic. So if that's something that, if this video is something that you liked, please subscribe to my channel. You know, please put your post notifications on. I can make more videos like this every week. I'm now taking my YouTube channel seriously this time, so I should be having a video up every Tuesday and Thursday. If not, both days. It's gonna be one of those days every week. And I will see y'all later. Peace.